Are you tired of self-doubt holding you back? Have you ever wished you could have the confidence to face your fears, go after your wildest dreams, and the tools necessary to live your best life? Hey there, amazing listeners. I'm your host and author of How to Grasp Confidence and Own Your Power, and I've made it my mission to help you break free from self-doubt and embrace confidence. Subscribe now and join us as we unlock the secrets to unshakable self-assurance. Let's dive in. Marian Edelman Wright once said, "You can't be what you can't see." Think about that just for a moment. And think about all of those big goals and dreams and aspirations that you have, and imagine them with purpose and clarity. And if you imagine them with purpose and clarity, how much easier it is to actually achieve. So today, I have the absolute pleasure of interviewing my friend, Steve Gamlin. Now, Steve is known as the motivational firewood guy and the vision board guy. He helps people understand their vision with that purpose and clarity that I'm talking about so that you can gain confidence and impact that you are looking for this year and beyond. Steve, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much, Tara. Happy to be here and looking forward to our conversation.
So, vision, it's so important. I'm just looking back at my own journey, Steve. And the first vision board I ever created was only just 3 years ago. It was January of, what year was that? So 2022? Yeah, 2022. And you'll laugh. I actually had to Google how to do a vision board. Yeah. I didn't know, right? But I've heard the term before. And it's not like there was instructions readily available. I couldn't figure it out. I wasn't quite sure what to do. Do you run into that a lot?
Yeah. See, a lot of people will reach out to me because I've been doing this for 20 years now. And they'll say, "Steve, I made a vision board." And I'll say, "Great, send me a picture." And I get it. And they did exactly what most people do. Because if you ever saw The Secret or you see any of these motivational gurus out there, all of a sudden, I get in my inbox a picture of a board with photos of a Lamborghini, a yacht, a private jet, a mansion, a big honking gold watch, and a bank vault full of gold bars and piles of cash. It's what I call the vision board starter kit. And so many people think it's all about the material things. And that's part of life. There's nothing wrong with any of those pictures, by the way. But here's my biggest thing when it comes to vision boards. It's not just what you get, it's who you want to become. And it takes on such a heavier, more in-depth journey than just saying you want a bunch of stuff, because you're not necessarily going to be acclimated to believe you actually deserve it. And in the event that you do, and you don't feel you deserve it, and you haven't built up the best version of you along the way, you're probably going to sabotage it and lose it in some way.
It's all about aligning with your values and what your version of success is. I completely agree. We don't talk about that enough. When we go on Instagram or YouTube or any of these places, or LinkedIn for that matter, we see a version of success that, society, maybe our parents, maybe it was the way we were brought up, tells us that, that's everybody's goal, right? It's called the American dream. So if, we're just in the United States, so I'm mentioning that, it's pretty common that we all seem to have the same version of success. Oh, you have to have a super lucrative corporate job. You need to be a doctor or a lawyer. You need to have a Lamborghini, a big house, or whatever it is. But nobody stops to think what they actually want. And that's part of the problem of why we're having this lack of fulfillment, I feel like, on a big level, like on a collective scale, don't you think?
Yeah, and a lot of people, they get to that thing and they drive and they grind, and that's why I say the hustle and grind mindset is actually causing a lot of damage. There's nothing wrong with working hard, and there's nothing wrong with hustling, but you've got to know why you want it and who you're going to be when you get to the end of it. And I've had people in their 20s say, "Steve, I'm going to make $1 million this year. I'm going to work like 80, 100 hours a week." and I'm going to get it. I'm going to grind and grind and grind. And I say, you married? They go, yeah. I go, you won't be by the end of the year.
That's right.
And I know because I did that to my first marriage. Workaholic. I worked 50, 60 hours a week at a radio station and DJ'd weddings pretty much every weekend, year round, and destroyed myself, my health, my relationship. And, for my share of the issues that caused it, it led to a divorce. So it's really important. Working hard is great and I love it, but you've got to know who you want to be. And you also mentioned core values in there too. And the way that I teach vision boards, this is the program I created and the way I do it at live events with all my corporate clients as well. You got to think in 8 major categories, and it's a pretty standard personal development tool. It's life skill. You've probably seen it out there. They're all a little bit different. I've kind of tweaked mine. And if you're going to have a vision, you need to think of these 8 areas: your physical health, your emotional well-being. Imagine that. What emotions do you want to feel while you're achieving your goals? Your closest relationships, your core values and ethics that guide every thought, word, and action that you commit. Your faith and spirituality, that's an important part of your life. Your connection to the world in real ways, which took a beating during the pandemic years. And then your career and your money. Now, it may seem overwhelming to a lot of people. They say, should I make a separate vision board for each? No. You're one person, make one board. All 8 of these things are happening 24/7, whether or not you're paying attention. So wouldn't it be a good idea to set goals in alignment with exactly who you are and who you want to become, keeping all 8 of those in mind?
Wow. I wish I would have met you a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we're here now.
I know. We're 3 years too late. So it's interesting. So, when I first made this vision board, again, I had to literally Google it. That's not an exaggeration. I went to Walmart, I got my supplies, and it was a poster board like you would have when you're in the 8th grade, right? And I put it down and I started thinking, what do I want? Who do I want to become? Very interesting. And at the time, I was really struggling with depression, anxiety, and lack of confidence. Yeah. And I just wanted out. Whatever change had to be, I wanted like the complete opposite. And I said, okay, what's my biggest fear? I said, okay, it's public speaking. I hated it, right? So ironic. I hated it. But I said, you know what? There's something like compelling towards this. Yeah. And I knew it was an area of growth. And it's something like, I was like, I just want to try it. And I found a lady and she was in, on stage and big audience. And I thought, I just want to teach to people and like really, really help them. But I didn't know how. I didn't know what I was doing. So I clipped out this picture and that became the center. Steve, can I tell you, 6 months later, I met my first speaking mentor and he helped me, through this process, navigate the industry and such. And then it was only a few weeks or so after that, I got my first speaking opportunity. It went from vision to reality in less than 8 months, I think. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Do you ever experience that?
Oh, many times. Many times. And here's the thing about it. So many people think, like, oh, that's lucky you manifested it, meaning, and what they mean by manifest is you wished for it and it happened. And I blame the DVD version of The Secret for this. Now, I love The Secret, and it did a great broad brush of the law of attraction and manifesting and all that. But they included, I'm not sure if you've seen the video version of it, they included a genie in a magic lamp. And his only line throughout the whole movie was, your wish is my command. And it gave people the illusion, and some people may look at your success now and say, oh, Tara, you wished for that and it happened. No, you envisioned it and you declared that's what you wanted. Then all of a sudden your senses became available of opportunities to meet that person, or at least connect with that person. It's almost like instead of staring at your shoes or your phone, wishing for stuff, texting the universe, I want this. You actually had your head on a swivel, and your eyes and your ears and your mind didn't doubt you, because even when you first set the vision, your confidence level is already at work. It's already climbing the mountain. without, even if you think it's without you, that when you had the opportunity to meet that person, you were at least barely confident enough to reach out and make a connection with that person. And then they saw an opportunity to help you. Now that person's being a teacher as well, teaching you to be able to get to a place where you can turn around and teach others. It's like climbing a mountain and you found this guy sitting on a rock in the sun eating a sandwich and you said, hey, I want to do this. And he said, well, come climb with me. We're heading on up together. That's how this works. And people say it sounds all mystical and all that. And it's all woo-woo. And one of my taglines is, dude, I'm blue collar woo. I come from carpenters and building stuff. And instead of just spouting woo-woo stuff, I sit here and I roll up my sleeves next to you and I hand you the tools and show you how to use them. And that's how this works. It's very scientific. I just don't explain it in a scientific way. I just trust that it works.
It does. And it's repeatable. So this same exact, scenario I was just talking about there, I went from, public speaking, right? Let's conquer that goal. So that was the vision board of that year, was primarily that. The next year, it was about authorship. And I kept talking about authorship and I kept thinking of myself as an author. Then once I started, so it started with the vision on my vision board. Then it began me talking about myself as such and then connecting with authors. So I started connecting with New York Times bestselling authors on LinkedIn. And again, this wasn't that far removed from that first vision board. Yeah. Less than a year. It was literally after that, I got an opportunity to speak with NASDAQ, again, 2022. Yeah. I had only been an entrepreneur for 6 months. Then after that, so that combines the speaking and the other things. And then after that, it was, you know what? I think I can write. I'm just going to go ahead and try to write a book. Boom. You just have to, it starts with that clarity of that vision though, Steve. And not enough people really talk about this. They talk about clarity, but they don't talk to you about how to gain that clarity. And that's a big pet peeve of mine, because you're actually talking about how to gain the clarity. And it's something very tangible that anybody can do, which is why I love what you do. Yeah. So, you talked about this vision starter kit, which is really funny, right? Because I think you're right. I think a lot of people have that same vision starter kit, right? It's like a Lamborghini and a big house and a big stack of money. And there's nothing wrong with those things, but they should not be your whole life's work. I like how you also talk about having faith in there. That's something that's really important to me. It's so interesting though, because you're talking about not one part of that person, but the whole person.
Exactly.
Wow. What have been some interesting transformations that you've seen on people's vision that you've worked with that went from that vision board starter kit to actually something more meaningful and purposeful for them?
Yeah. One of my favorites happened about 6 years ago. There's a company that I've worked with now. This past December was my 17th annual event with them. And I teach vision boards to their entire company and visualization and just some coaching for them as well. And one of the attendees reached out to me and said, hey, Steve, I got this goal, something I've wanted to do for most of my life. But at the time she was around 28, 29 years old. And she said, I want to go on a safari to Africa. Giraffes are my favorite creature on the planet. I think they're so majestic and gorgeous. And I would love for, at the time, her fiance and her, now married, to go on a safari. But I don't know how to create it as a vision. And I said, okay, we got on a coaching call. I said, well, where do you want to go? And she said, the plains of the Serengeti, because that's where there's a lot of giraffes and other animals. It's great. How much is it going to cost? I have no idea. I said, good. This week, here's your first step. Reach out for a travel agent and figure out how much it's going to cost. So she did that. She determined it was going to be about $10,000. And I said, now, in addition to paying your bills, because remember, you got all these other 8 areas of your life, all 8 you're working on. This is kind of an add-on for something cool. How long do you think it would take you to save that in addition to paying all your bills? And she goes, probably 2 years. I said, okay, perfect. So now we're talking about a 2-year project. Who could you share this with? Who do you trust? She goes, oh my gosh, my whole tribe of people on her team and all of her clients as well. So she went into her Facebook Live, her weekly Friday morning live, and said, I want to go on a safari to Africa because I want to see giraffes. And all of a sudden, people started sending her little giraffe pendants, a pen set that had 4 jungle creatures. One was a giraffe. I went on Amazon.com and I found her 2 shower stickers of a mama and a baby giraffe. They're still, to this day, in her shower. And she sees them every day and she touches them and says, I'm going to come see you. In order to track her progress, because again, we're talking 2 years here, I found a children's coloring book with a giraffe picture in it, and it had 12 spots on it. So I wrote her name and her fiance's name on 2 of them, and I wrote 500, 500, 500, 500, 500 on the other 10. $5,000 for each year. Every time she banked $500, she would do a Facebook Live and color in a spot on that giraffe. So it kept going. Every Friday morning on a radio station that's up here in the Northeast, and she could hear it in Maine, and I could hear it in New Hampshire. Every Friday morning, they would do a Name That Tune, and at the end of it, for some reason, they would play Africa by Toto. It was called Africa Friday. So every Friday morning, she made sure she listened to that, and she heard Africa. Now, I created a hashtag for her, Giraffe Africa, put them together. She became known as hashtag GiraffricaJen. Still is, all these years later. Now, COVID got in the way, a lot of things in travel and some things going on over there. She's actually going this summer, finally. For all the work we did for those 2 years together. And she nailed it, by the way. I think she was 6 or 8 weeks into beyond the second year is when she finally saved the $10,000.
Incredible. What?
Everyone piled on and sent her all these giraffe things. And she would send me pictures every time. She goes, oh my gosh, this thing has taken on a life of its own. And so that's what happens when you share your vision very clearly and passionately. Other people want to be a part of it. And she is still getting gifts. And anytime my wife and I would be traveling, if we saw a giant stuffed animal giraffe, I would go hug it and she would take my picture and we would send it to Jen.
Such next level, in a couple of different ways, right? Now, I love that. I love a story where you really honor people. I'm pretty passionate about that. It's one of the tenets of my business is to give first, give often, and do it with love. Everything we should do, in a business sense or just in life, is to love another person. And it starts with self.
Yeah.
It starts with self and honoring yourself too. And if you have these big goals and big dreams, we can be our own worst critics. We can be the first people to say, that's not possible. That's too far out of the way, too far reaching. That's not doable. I can't do. And you start to talk yourself out of it really quick.
Oh, yeah. I used to speak that one fluently. I was very self-deprecating and had no confidence for years, which is pronounced decades of my life. This confidence to me is only... Well, put it this way. I said this to somebody recently when she blew me off for a Zoom call. And the next day I asked her why. And she said, it's kind of embarrassing, but I'm intimidated by your conference. And I busted out laughing. I said, here's the link. Let's get on a Zoom call now. And I said, look, my confidence can barely drive a car. It sure as hell can't buy a beer yet. I said, I'm 56 and my confidence is maybe about 19 or 20 years old. So there's hope. But it all, and you nailed it. It starts with you. It starts with the person in your mirror. Every morning when I get up at 5:05 to do my morning workout and inspired by Mel Robbins, as soon as I hit that bathroom mirror, I give myself a huge high five and I point at myself and say, you, my friend, are a good dude. You're going to go work out and you are going to have a great day. And here's the cool part. You're going to make this day better for at least one other person, but it starts with you and we're going to have a good day. Rock on. That's how I start my mornings.
I love that.
Total opposite from 20 years ago when I look and go, you dumbass, look what you did yesterday. You screwed it up, which is like just throwing a turd bomb at yourself first thing in the morning and it's going to wreck your day. And I've learned self-talk is super critical. Now you don't have to be like Stuart Smalley, you're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people love you. You don't have to be all that way. But cut yourself some slack. Think of your favorite moment from the day before, something you did. Maybe you held the door for somebody or somebody said, thank you. Or somebody told you, hey, you did a great job on this, or somebody paid you a compliment, told you you have a nice hat, whatever it was. Think of the best moment from the previous day and use that to start your new day.
I love that. Yes, because, a lot of people, myself included, have suffered from ruminating thoughts.
Yeah. Mine ate for lunch. It used to stay all day.
Yes. And they really can not just destroy your confidence, they can destroy every aspect of your life, Steve. And one of the powerful things about, again, that clarity of vision, it's an anchor in a lot of ways. So even if negative thoughts come to mind, or even worse, the record player of negative thoughts, that ruminating thought that I'm talking about, the vision will help guide you through that process, because it's almost like the compass, that really takes you through the storm, and we all go through those times in our lives when we're, again, doubting ourselves, doubting our abilities, and we're questioning our just worth and confidence. But when you have a really clear vision, it is like a compass, and it helps you kind of get back on track and get back on the path, as it were. Don't you agree with that?
Yeah. And one of the things too is if you're in a weaker place right now, or a place that's compromised by your own self-talk or your self-beliefs and your thoughts, here's the thing I tell people. I said, look, you set this vision, you created this, you told me this story, in which I'm a storyteller by nature. So I'll say, tell me a little story about this. And they'll say, oh, this, and this. I said, okay, how are you going to get there? I have no idea. Okay. Is there anybody out there on planet Earth right now who is enjoying the life that you want to create? And they go, well, yeah, it's kind of part of what inspired me. I said, good. Start shadowing or observing these people. Just watch from a distance. I mean, if you can meet them and greet them, great. But watch from a distance. See how they carry themselves. See what they post on social media. See what they never do on social media, and don't do that. But emulate these people who are higher up the mountain than you are. Step in their steps. Watch what they do and how they do it. Success leaves clues. Everybody in the world has said that. I think Tony Robbins gets credit for it, but success does leave clues. And if you see people out there living the type of life you wish to live, just observe those people. Read their books, read their articles, watch their videos, listen to their podcasts. Again, follow them on social media. See what they say and how they say it. See how they treat other people. And start to emulate that. It's Jack Canfield calls it acting as if. Act as if you're already at that level, and you will get there. It'll pull you uphill when you start to do that, because you're going to start to realize the people, some of them who are in your life right now, who are trying to drag you down a different path, you have got to set some boundaries, and you have got to make yourself less available to those people. Start looking up the mountain toward cliffs and the peak, and not sitting at the bottom of the mountain on a rotten picnic table, giving you splinters in your butt downwind of the porta potties and the parking lot. Start climbing with the right people.
Yes, climb with the right people. So you're mentioning something that is, again, very passionate to me. I have 3 foundational layers of gratitude that I talk about. Gratitude for the person that you were, gratitude for the person that you are, and gratitude for the person you are becoming.
Ooh,
and again,
I love that.
Yes, that was the premise of my TEDx talk. We don't talk about that enough, that gratitude for the person that we are becoming, the person that we want to become, the person that we want to align ourselves with, right? Some people call it your highest self. I just say, making the most out of your life and aligning with your purpose, right? But whether you believe it's your highest self or not, or just the best version of yourself, really is how I look at it. Just, aligning with that person. Again, it goes and coincides with this vision that we're talking about. You can't have gratitude for something until you truly believe it's already happened, right? But imagine you have that gratitude already, and you're really grasping that person that you want to become. It, again, makes it so much easier to become that person. That's actually out of my book, that was the most asked question, was, how can I have gratitude for the future version of myself that I have yet to become? The thing of it is, you become that future version of yourself so much quicker when you realize that and make that understanding really tangible for yourself. I already have gratitude for every single goal that I've ever had. Why? Because I believe it's going to happen. I have faith that it will happen. It's already happened. So powerful, Steve.
Yeah. And I've been keeping a gratitude journal now for over 13 years. And my typical practice starts after my workout, when I get back up to my office and I flip open the laptop. As it's powering up, my gratitude journal actually sits underneath it to keep it at a little slant so I can type somewhat legibly. And I'll take it out and I'll write the date and I'll write the words "great stuff." And I write 1, 2, 3. And in less than a line each, I write my 3 favorite moments from the previous day, as descriptively as I can, in less than a line each. And even on the worst, absolute worst, toughest days of my life, when the storm is raging, when there's thunder, lightning, wind, and rain, and just jet black clouds across the sky, I can find that little tiny crack in the clouds where that one ray of light comes through. That's what I try to focus on every day as far as the gratitude going on. So the most important thing is to remember, no matter what is happening out there, there is something to be grateful for. And my family and I have a small nonprofit. It's a 501c3 called Beach Bum Philanthropy. And we try to do our best to help out local homeless shelters. And even yesterday, here in New Hampshire, it was -8 degrees. And I went to the shelter and I had a couple of cans of coffee and brought them. And these people, many of whom live out on the street or are just crashing somewhere on a friend's couch, were so grateful just to have a hot cup of coffee yesterday to come out of the cold. And I said, do you have anybody that doesn't drink coffee that likes hot chocolate? They said, oh, we go through hot chocolate like crazy, but we're out. Give me about 15 minutes. Came back with 90 packets of hot chocolate, and they were so grateful. So even people who are dealing with day-to-day life or death challenges were grateful that they could have a mug of hot cocoa with marshmallows. I made sure I got the one with marshmallows because that's my favorite. But even, and we can all be anywhere in our life and forget to be grateful for those little things. And that's something I take with me every day whenever we go to the shelter to understand. I want to give these people something to be grateful for today.
If you can find the gratitude, your life becomes so much better. And I really encourage everybody listening to this to really grab hold of this concept. There's a reason why gratitude is my first step in my method to build confidence. It's not just about building confidence. It's about living a more fulfilled life. It's about connecting with other people, starting with yourself. It's about appreciating the life that you've lived, your past, the life that you're living, your present, and again, that life that you want to live for your future. If you can find the gratitude in any situation, it's not only going to lead to a level of fulfillment that I feel like a lot of people haven't even experienced yet, but for me, it was a really deep connection to my faith. It deepened my faith in a way that I was not expecting. And not only faith in myself, like, yes, I can do this, but it was a faith in a higher power that said, you know what? I was made for more. I was born for more. I wasn't born to suffer. I wasn't born to be miserable. I wasn't born to have lack. Yeah. And I know that anybody that's listening to this right now, maybe we felt that way before, but I'm telling you right now, your life is made for more. You're made for more. You can absolutely do anything you want in life. It starts with you.
Yeah. And something I share with a lot of people, especially if they might be going through some struggles in life right now, I just tell them, be very careful with the universe and the law of attraction because it has a sense of humor. If you're going through some stuff right now, and I get it, trust me, in my life right now, privately going through some very serious things at the moment. But what I caution people on is don't ever look up at the sky and say, what else could possibly go wrong? Because the universe will actually pause for a second, giggle, and send you some more crap. Because that's, in a way, almost what you're asking for. Like, what else can go wrong to pile on and actually make this worse? A better thing to do, and I know it's so easy to fall into that, is just to say, okay, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on. What can I do about it today to bring a plus sign at the end of the day and not another minus sign? How can I focus on that little tiny crack in the clouds where the sun is coming through versus staring at the clouds and waiting for the lightning to hit me? We've got to be very careful with our choice of words. It's like what I caution people on when they talk about themselves being self-deprecating. Is that your inner self is just going to respond to the words and the tone. So be very careful the words that you choose to use, whether it's inside yourself or to the world around you. I just keep looking for signs that better days are coming and good things are going to happen. And I actually believe that I'm going to be part of the process. So it keeps me from just being down or focusing on the really bad stuff and saying, okay, we got to find some hope here. I got to find the next best version of me today. One of my former mentors, the late, great Lonnie Robinson, used to say that. He goes, brother, all you got to do is create the next best version of you. He goes, you don't have to do the ultimate version. Just how are you going to be better today in one way than yesterday? Go do that. And you string enough of those days together, and all of a sudden you realize you're climbing, you're rising up. And you look and speak about yourself differently in the mirror, and you build your confidence that way because you're rising up. And one of my stage stories is called Some Days Your Phoenix Rides a Pogo Stick. Because, my life has fallen into the fire a couple times, burnt off the tail feathers. But here's the thing, they grow back. If you don't just stare at the little nubs of feathers you had all the time, they grow back. And when they grow back, the colors are more vivid and you can fly higher. But you got to have the confidence, and you have to have the appreciation for the time that it takes for them to grow back so you can fly again.
That's right. I love that, Steve. Well, I would love to end on a note of what is one tip, just one takeaway, one tip that somebody can take with them right now to get started on this process, or if they've already kind of started this process, what can they do to enhance it and make it better for them?
Yep. Understand that life is like an old wooden roller coaster. Wherever you are right now, you are at parking lot level, you just handed your ticket, you're getting on the ride. Any one of your goals is at the top of that first hill. And it's not like the jet-powered coasters. You are not going to launch right up there. You're going to do what a lot of people think is very boring work. You're going to go click, 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 click. But if you start taking those steps and you do enough of them consistently, look over your shoulder every once in a while and realize how much higher you are now than when you started at the parking lot. And after a while, you're going to realize that's getting closer and closer and closer because you are becoming the person who's going to not only achieve it, but appreciate it and have it be a part of who you are. So understand it can be a long journey, but after each thing you do or accomplish or achieve, just think in your head, click, click, click. I've got a hashtag, click baby click. And that's what all of my coaching clients, when they have a little breakthrough, I get tagged on social media. Hey, Steve Gamlin. Ooh, hashtag click baby click. And I reach out to them and go, all right, lay it on me. What'd you do? Because then I get to share their story with other people. So we all get to get up there together, because when you get over the top, you do that last thing, hang on for a ride you couldn't stop if you tried, because you did all the work. And at the end of it, screaming your brains out, if you really enjoyed it, what do you want to do? You want to get back and do it again and go next level, because there's always a next level. So if you're frustrated or feeling stuck or like you're on a merry-go-round, get off and hop on the wooden roller coaster and just start doing your little clicks.
I love that. Yes. Appreciate the steps along the way.
Yep.
Well, Steve, what are the best places to get a hold of you?
You can find me on social media. I spend most of my time on Facebook and LinkedIn, or you can go to my website at visionboardspecial.com.
I love that. Wonderful. Well, Steve, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And thank you for everyone who tuned in today for this episode of Grasp Confidence. We appreciate every single person who listens and tunes in weekly for amazing guests and interviews from people from all over the globe. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. Each review is gratefully appreciated. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next episode. Take care. And that's a wrap for this episode of Grasp Confidence. Thank you for joining me today and investing in yourself. Remember, building confidence is an ongoing journey, and each step you take brings you closer to the empowered, fearless version of yourself that you were born to be. Don't forget to visit my website, follow me on social media, and purchase my book, which is available on Amazon. Thank you for listening. We will see you on the next episode. Stay confident.